Good morning everyone, and I hope you like the video that's coming up. It'll be teaching you guys how to grow these beautiful Haworthia and also Lithops from seed. It's pretty easy to do, and if you follow the instructions I set forth in the video, I think you'll be very successful at it. And then you can grow some really cool plants just like these. And what are we looking at here? These are some really neat and pretty rare Haworthia Maughanii. And over the years I bred them where some of them would be very low chlorophyll like this, and they don't die. That one is practically white on the top. And you can see a lot of these other ones have a very light color like this one compared to a normal. See that dark purple one there? Or the dark green, that's what a normal color looks like. So with Maughanii over here, that is normal non-variegated, and over here, these are beautiful low chlorophyll. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Please do like and subscribe if you like my videos, and enjoy the video coming up. If you have any questions, just go ahead and you can look at the descriptions below, and you can email me. I have an email address in there, which is gonativefarms@proton.me. If you're interested in maybe obtaining some of these plants or seeds, let me know and we will talk. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I was asked to do a video on how to grow Haworthia from seed. So that's what I'm going to work on today. This video will also apply to Lithops seeds as well, not just Haworthia seeds. So when you're going to start your Haworthia seeds or Lithops seeds from seed, you want to have good containers and you want to have a good soil mixture. So these two containers in the front, I just recently bought at the store, and you can find those at your local big box store as well. And you want something that has a couple of inches of depth to it if you're going to leave them in there for a while, which I am. And these are approximately 8 inches by 8 inches, and the ones in the back a little bit longer than that. So the ones in the back I actually recycled. Those are just food containers, and I recommend doing that. Just clean it first and wash them good and poke some holes in the bottom. I did poke some holes in the bottom of all of these, but I find that I don't really water them too much until they get big where water would actually drain out. So got the containers covered. Now let's take a look at soil. Now soil can be pretty expensive, or you can shop around a little bit to try to find things that are a little more reasonable. A good portion of the soil for Haworthia and Lithops is going to be composed of some kind of rock or inorganic material, and then about 25% is going to be potting soil, and I use sandy loam. So this sandy loam in conjunction mixed with this potting soil, high quality potting soil, is 25% of the mix. So I do 50 and 50%, and then these are going to make 75% of the mix. So basically your rocks are 75% and your soil is 25%. And I do use a little bit of this fine rock to sprinkle on the top. And let's take a look at these two pots in the front. This first pot is pretty much prepped to go, except I'm going to spray it heavily before I put the seeds in, because the soil does need to be wet, obviously, to germinate. And the one in the back is slightly different because I haven't actually sprinkled the fine rock and the fine sandy loam on to the back one yet, but I did on the front one. So if you look very close, you can see that the fine sand and fine rock is already on here. You do want to, what I do is I make rows first with a knife or any tool, and I make rows, and and let me just show you the rows first, but you can see that there's rows in here, and then I will plant the seeds in these rows. That's where I plant Haworthia seed. I do not do that with Lithops seeds. With Lithops seeds, I do everything flat. So if you sprinkle, well, I should say you want to sprinkle the fine sand and fine rock on here. That way your seeds do not fall down too far. Occasionally, if you're using bigger pebbles, the seeds are so small, they're gonna fall down there. They could fall down and then they'll never germinate because they end up getting smothered or lost and they don't come up. I don't bury my seeds. I drop them on there and then I mist them with water 3 to 5 times a day, and that generally is going to have them sprouting in about 2 weeks to up to 2 months. And what I also do is I do cover mine with a dome, and I'll leave a little gap in the corner as well. And I might even poke a hole in the top. Some people don't do that, and that could have benefits, but it could also have drawbacks. I find that the airflow, the ventilation, seems to work a little bit better for my plants to sprout, my seeds to sprout. If you did lock it down, it could keep out gnats, which could be a big problem as well. So it's kind of give and take. I leave a little hole, some people don't. When we take a look at the 2 pots in the back, you can see those are a year old, a year and a month. And you can see I have pretty good results using this method. Not every single seed germinated, but by and large, that's well into the 90-something percentile of germination. So you can kind of see for yourself and, you know, decide what you want to do. Let's go back to the soil for a second. So you do want to mix all these together, and then that's my main mix. And soil can be really expensive, so you want to shop around. If you buy stuff online, it can be really expensive, but with this sandy loam that I use in my mix, I get that right in my backyard because I live in an area that has that. So you could get some of your materials right in your backyard. I also will sometimes get small rocks. These are not the small rocks from my backyard, but they would look similar. This is actually akadama. And I will take those off the ant mounds in my backyard, and I will filter them and wash them. And then I use that, and I don't have to pay anything for that. So some things you can improvise, and you can save some money. And then other things like potting soil, I don't try to make that on my own. I buy high quality potting soil at a hydroponics store because they have the best soil for many reasons. And that's what I do. If you're using a low grade potting soil, it could provide some issues. I've found some to be really good and some to be really bad, but I would recommend spending a little extra and going to a hydroponics store and get that. You can also find some of those same topsoils at other nurseries. I do microwave all of my soil before they go into the pots because I want to kill any bugs or microbes, seeds, anything like that that could potentially damage my new seedlings. So today I'm actually going to be planting some Haworthia Maughanii. That's a variegated Murasaki. And what I do is I take these seeds and I place them in their one at a time, and then I'll just drop it in. So you can see that dropped in there. I use a tweezer. There's some other devices out there. You could use one of these, and it's a Pro Seeder, and it works by basically you push the air out, and then it sucks in, creating a vacuum, and that can end up picking up the seed if you're good, and then it drops back where you want it. I find the tweezers to be a little easier. The Pro Seeder will sometimes drop the seed wherever it wants to. But that's kind of the general method I use. And we'll take a look at the back here, because I have these examples of seeds that I planted, which are now seedlings, and they're doing pretty good. You can see I spread them out approximately an inch apart if I'm going to leave them in there for a long period of time. I might put 50 or even up to 100 seeds in here. If I put 100, it's because I'm going to be pulling out maybe some variegated ones and growing those in a separate pot. These are doing pretty good. I did get some variegated Haworthia, Maughanii hybrids here, and they did produce a decent amount of variegation. Several of them have variegation on there. Variegation is something that does not usually produce in high numbers. You could get anything from 0% to 20-something% has been my experience. And I did get a few this time which were variegated. You do want to start with a variegated mother, and hopefully not tissue culture and created by chemical variegation, or you'll probably get nothing. So this is also another pot that I have. This is about 1.5 years. And then these guys over here are about 1 year. You can definitely leave these in your pot for up to 2 to 3 years. And then you do want to move them out into bigger pots because the roots will compete. This is actually one of those variegated Maughanii, or Maughanii, depending on how you pronounce it. And let's see, there should be another one in here. Here's one more. So those seeds, with any luck, will look like these plants in a few years. It takes a little while for the tops to develop on the Maughanii. That could be several more years down the road. And we'll keep watching. So if we go further down the road, these guys are about 4 to 5 years old, and they're doing pretty good. I have one that's variegated. These guys are just starting to flower. I see flowers coming on them all now. This one is a low chlorophyll variegate called Haworthia Maughanii Snow White. And this is another setup I have. I have a dome on here, which is a little bit crooked, but that is what you want to do. You want to put a dome. I put a dome on there. Some people don't, but they do like moisture. And I keep that on there for about 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on if they're sprouting or not. And when they start to sprout and they're getting a little bit bigger, I do slowly remove the top. I don't rip it off all in one day. These are some Lithops Purple Rain that I grew with the same soil regimen of 75% rock and 25% organic material. fairly decent also. All right, so that is my video for today. Don't think I left anything out. If so, feel free to comment and get back to me. And I hope you guys have a great time growing your seeds. It does take a little bit of effort, and you do need to spray them, like I say, 3 to 5 times a day. The more effort you put in, the more likely you are to have success. Some people, I'm not exactly sure why they grow them, but maybe more for money. They're trying to make money versus having an interest in the plant. But if you take interest in the plant, and especially these seedlings, and you follow them every single day, then you can start to identify potential problems, and you may need to push a root into the ground that's not going into the ground. And there's all those little things that you're going to start to notice when you get up close and personal with the plants. So especially for the first couple of months when you're planting succulents by seed, you want to focus on them real closely. Go out there and take a look and see, hey, is the soil drying out too much? Or is there any bugs in here? Is this root doing something weird? And when they start to sprout, you can also take them and with a tweezer, maybe you have 2 of them that are too close together, so you can spread them out a little farther. And that'll help them grow more vigorously. They're competing less with their neighbors. And just little things like that you want to start focusing on. So hopefully that helped. Hope you guys have a great day and take care.